Thank you, Gonzalo. Now we'll hand the floor to Felipe Silva Samanin. Felipe, please. Hello, good morning, everyone. It's a pleasure to see all of you here. On behalf of the committee, I would like to welcome everyone and thank you for the invitation. Gustavo asked me to give you an outlook of the Chilean season. Actually, the Southern Hemisphere season. We can no longer speak only of Chile's season. So let's have a look at that. The Blueberry Committee was founded in 2009 under SOX, and today it is composed of 71% of the industry's companies of fresh blueberries producers. We have 5 strategic pillars, basically market development, leadership and representativity in the industry. Also, we work very much focused on productivity and quality, outreach, works provided by our technical committee. Sustainability is the 4th pillar, and also a economic feasibility pillar. Today we'll talk about the blueberry season in Chile, the changes in the world supply, the committee actions, and future opportunities. Well, we can say that it was a more normal season after everything we went through. We had very rough years recently due to COVID in terms of logistics, and now things are a bit more normalized. We have faster and more normal routes to Europe and the United States, and we can say that this is a rather normal season. However, the logistics went back to the same levels of timing and operations of port operations. Thanks to the Blueberry Express, there is more higher labor offer for harvest and packaging. The varieties mix is evolving, but it's still less competitive than other countries. So the Group 3 varieties and other varieties that are more obsolete, we can see now that their volumes are going down, but we need to work on the logistics chains to reach the markets with better products. Now, the weather. We had a very cold spring, and the harvest came in early with some heat that affected the productions, and this impacted our production, and there was a decrease in the exported volumes. And we can see now a increase in demand from other countries in some weeks that were only applied for Chile, but now there is no more a Chilean window. We produce in December to February, which is quite strong months, but we are constantly competing with other countries like Peru, Mexico, Morocco, and other markets. Now, Chile, data from last season, we ended up with 87,000 tons exported, a decrease compared to previous years, and this drop is seen basically due to weather changes and the output of certain varieties, and also this is due to dynamics in terms of frozen products, which is make it harder to evaluate. But we expect that 50,000 tons were frozen. There was no large movements of fruit to the industry compared to last year. So this decrease in fresh produce is due to the exit of some producers and varieties and also weather changes. In terms of organic fruit, it's still 16%, at 16%, which are quite similar figures than before, but they have been affected also in terms of overall exported volumes. These are the last 3 seasons. We can see here 3 main issues. The peaks are now happening earlier, especially in the southern part of the country. We can see that each year, seasons end earlier, and we end up having less volume than the northern hemisphere. Mexico goes to the North American market and the Asian market, and Morocco that provides fruit to the European market. The curves are changing, and we can see that we have earlier supply windows with an earlier peak also in December. In the levels of market, United States remains as the main destination of our product at 50%. And here on this chart, we'd like to highlight 2 things. The less decrease in volumes corresponds to the North American market. We exported 70,000 tons to the American market, and last year 44. Europe has shown an increase in volume and market, but this increase does not compensate for the decrease in the United States. Emerging markets, Israel is an important market for Latin America. Argentina has shown a good increase, but eventually it also does not offset the decrease that we see in the United States. There is potential in emerging markets. We must continue to develop that, and as an industry, we should work on that as a committee and as individual exporters. Now, changes in global supply. Today in Chile, during the Chilean season, we have 8 weeks in which we are a protagonist, a priority producer, but in the rest of the season, Peru surpasses Chile, and we can see here that we are constantly competing every week and every season with Peru. And the lowest week in Peru is the 30% of the overall offer in the market. So supermarkets, for instance, they constantly have products to buy from places outside of Chile, and this fulfills the expectations of the market, which is quality and continuity in the supply. Chile, it's quite stable. Argentina has been decreasing to very low levels, 3 million kilos last year. So, and Argentina is moving out of the market, and Peru increasing quite a bit, which is very hard to compete with Peru. So the challenge here for Chile is quite significant. Also, Mexico shows interesting increase rates, but it's nothing compared to Peru. This graph was sent to me. I'd like to thank Mr. Alcaino for sharing that, and shows the trend, showing that 2 or 3 years ago, the Chilean, or 10 years ago, Chile was basically alone in terms of supply, and then Peru comes into play, and then Argentina, and this I mean for the October-November window, and then Peru that starts to fill out all these windows, providing blueberry that from the end of the American season up until the end of the Chilean season. So they remain producing throughout this entire period. And if we add Mexico as a competitor, today the Chilean window, in some weeks, Chile is the main player, but most of the time it is competing with Peru and Mexico for the United States market. And here, the crude curve of all sources and producers, we are in a situation that if we want to keep our position with our production window, we need to provide new varieties, good quality, and better transportation times to reach our final markets. And the prices, Peru, and they have a bit higher prices than Chile. And here the red curve shows an increase in prices. But this is something that in the future, with the growth of Mexico and with the participation of Peru in the later windows, these prices will tend to stabilize and show no peaks. There is also, Mexico has delayed its production this last season, and there is a gap now because Chile finished its exports much earlier, and this generated an increase in prices. But for the future, we believe that the prices throughout the seasons will remain stable, as we can see here on this yellow curve showing the Peruvian prices. I'd like to thank Kima for this graph. It shows a comparison of qualities. The black curve shows the main volumes where they are located, and if we compare the main volume from Chile going into the United States, more than 56% of the fruit is fair and cool, and in the Peruvian, more than 74% is good fruit. Only 21% fair, which poses a important challenge. We must be able to reach the market with better fruit, with better quality, better varieties, and really become a stronger competitor. We have all markets open to us. We have the windows open to us, the distribution channels available in order to do that, to compete. But we need to have better products. Without that, things will be very complicated for the future. In Europe, Peru and Chile remain with similar prices, which are the yellow and red curves here, with an increase. In the end, there was a delay in the Moroccan harvest. Our season ended earlier, and this generated a small gap. However, in the south of Chile, we will be able to reach better prices in the future. If we think that, we will be making a mistake, because in the case of Morocco, there will be higher volumes reaching the market every year.
As far as Chile is concerned, we can see that, as in the European case, the qualities of Chile, as a matter of fact, are lower compared to those of Peru and the European markets. As for China, the Peruvian prices were over the Chilean prices at the end of the season. They came even, and in this marketplace, or destination market. If you send a fruit that is good in size and good organoleptic characteristics and is deemed to grow still. But if you remember the scenario a few years ago, the growth rate in the market or the Asian market have been rather on the Korean side. And China is not growing at the rates that we expected. We are not sending the quality of products that they were expecting there. Now we'll go to the actions by the board. As a board, we're working today and everything related to the quality standards in order to improve the standards prevailing in the industry at the level of varieties. And we are discouraging exporting varieties that already have came to an end in their production cycle, and we're looking for new varieties that can meet the standards. And we need, therefore, to do this and to improve the whole logistics. And the pre-harvest management, we are working on that too with different seminars and training activities to improve the technical management of the fruits and also for the harvest in order to improve the standards concerning time and in order to have a better product at the end and to have the good post-harvest management. We have alluded to this point for many years now, and we expect to have a standard that is completely changing. And we review this standard. We have varieties level 1, 2, and 3. And the varieties of group 3 should be exported, but with some restrictions, and those from 1 are the most recommended ones. Today in this group we have QB Legacy, and as of last year we see a certain percentage of some farmers who do not have this good legacy variety that represent almost 50% of the volume of fruits exported from Chile. We should therefore be able to keep this variety with good quality from the orchard. Now, concerning the industry, I should congratulate the whole industry, but we still have a lot to work on. And we can see that the varieties are decreasing the volume of export or vis-a-vis these categories from group number 1 that are kept at the same level. And a major effort has been deployed in improving some of the varieties, and we still need to move forward in these kind of activities in order to improve and increase the varieties, the new varieties that are getting into production cycle now. If we see now the percentages of the fruits inspected at destination by KIMA, we can see the varieties of group number 3 represents, or within these varieties of group number 3 represent 27% of these fruits that reached the American market, and we had some problems. So, well, now only 11% for the fruits of category number 2. So we can see that some varieties already came to the end of this cycle, that the market is changing and the demand for a better product is present now, has evolved, and is completely represented here on the charts. 30% of these fruits are discarded in the terminal market. The same thing for the European market. The percentages continues to be similar. We have 33% of these fruits from group 3 that have problems. Now, if we go to this chart of varieties, I would like to highlight a few points. The varieties of group or new varieties. Top shell, and these are all the varieties that are increasing their percentage. The new ones are representing 16%. Last year, 15 million kilos. And hopefully, I believe that we need to still grow and to support the renewal of plants. We are also working on the fact sheets, and we are trying new fact sheets that are provided to the farmers in order to disseminate different varieties that can be helpful for the replacement of plants. We are working very hard on the promotions in the domestic market. Last year, we deployed a campaign domestically in order to promote these consumption of fruits with uh, some players in December. The consumption of blueberries still has a space to grow, and we see that there is an important hike in the consumption. But this should be hand in hand with quality, and the quality should be consistent in time as well as firmness to be able to compete with the different origin fruits. There is still space for the Chilean supply. Yes, there is, because the Chilean time window is not already filled up, but we need to have quality and consistency for the arrival of our produce. The United States and Europe have growth in their quality, but based on good quality produce. But I repeat myself saying that quality is the major thing, but the quality allows the market to grow further. And if we still keep the old varieties that came to the end of the cycle, means making mistakes again. So we need to learn. What are the opportunities now? China, with the new varieties, with quality, will achieve to compete. This is a market that can further grow. In the previous presentation, they showed that from here to 10 years or more, we can have an increase in the consumption of blueberries per person is giant growth for the market, but we have observed that the market will grow based on new varieties, good arrivals, and also meeting the demands from those markets. So we have the Latin American and the including Argentina and Brazil that have a bigger demand of these products. And I think that we need to develop and continue to work. We already have all the development for the supermarket chains that we can supply, and we are working on the board to integrate all of that. And that's the end of the presentation. Thank you.